Hello everyone, it's Carrie. Welcome back to my channel. For today's card, I'm going to start off by creating a background using a stencil from My Favorite Things. This is one of their cloud stencils, and I'm going to be using that onto some Bristol Smooth cardstock, or it's actually watercolor paper, I believe, but we're going to be using it to create our background. I know that I have mentioned before that I've really never used inking, especially distress inks, on this Bristol Smooth white cardstock before. So I thought I had this extra piece just in my stash, and I thought it would be a perfect size to use on today's card and ink up this really cute background for the backdrop of our card for today. So I've got a little bit of a finger dauber here. This is kind of the best tool that I have that I like to use whenever I'm using stencils like this to create a specific type of background, and I want specific areas. And so I'm just kind of doing two different motions, not really thinking about it honestly, but I'm just kind of starting off of the stencil onto the paper and kind of getting a little bit of not a light hand, but I don't want it too dark. In some areas I did get a little bit heavy with my inking, but it's okay. It's all going to, be fine in the end. But it kind of creates a little bit of dimension. And each time that I am moving up my cardstock, I'm kind of switching out the pattern that I want to use, because that's what the great thing about this particular stencil is, that you can just obviously rotate it and use all four sides if you wanted to create different shapes in different areas of your cardstock here. For the last part of the background, I thought it would be nice to just kind of finish off the edge. So I've kind of purposely went off the edge, making it kind of fade off to white a little bit. So once I've got that complete, I went ahead and die cut that with a stitched rectangle die. And now what I'm going to do is ink up my stamp, and for the balloon, I'm going to actually paper piece it today. Instead of coloring it with my Copics, I thought I would do a little bit of paper piecing, which I haven't done in a little bit of time. And so all I'm going to be coloring in today's video is the little bunny. So this is not going to take long at all. Now I've only got 3 colors that I'm going to be using. And I've got E40, E43, and R02. I actually put in the editing here E42, but it's actually E43. So, and like I said, this image is, pretty simple in coloring. It's not that huge of an image, so you don't need too many colors to use to get a good look and dimension to the bunny. So I'm going to lay down my lightest and then add just a little bit of shadow here and there onto my critter, and then going to blend that out with the lightest marker once again. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of pink cheek to it, and of course add a little pink to the ears. And I think this bunny is the cutest thing. He's about to fly in the air here in a little bit on my card. I have seen some really cute samples with this card, or this stamp set rather. And it was one of those ones that I have been having on my desk that I've been intending to use. So I actually had some time to get to crafting today and create a video for all of you. So that is what I'm doing today. And I had an enjoyment creating with him and creating this card. So I'm going to finish up coloring up his body, and then I'm going to add that pink to the cheeks like I mentioned. I go between 2 different colors of pink when it comes to pink cheeks and ears. I usually use, most of the time I use R20, but I like to use R02 also, just to give it a little bit of a different tone. So once I have all of that blended back out, I'm going to use the lightest marker just to kind of dull it down just a little bit and not be so bright. So once I have that done, I'm going to go ahead and take the coordinating dies and die cut that off camera. And now I'm going to go ahead and take my scissors here, my detail scissors, and fussy cut the balloon that I stamped onto this piece of pattern paper. This actually comes from an older crate paper 6x6 pad. This is probably, gosh, I want to estimate about maybe 4 years old. But I still love this pattern, this paper pack. I'm trying to use a little bit more pattern papers on my cards. not only this year, but just, you know, in future, because I have a ton of pattern paper and I need to use it up. It just needs to be used up and not just sit in my collection. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere this piece to the die cut balloon. I'm going to carefully add this to the balloon and really get it good and lined up on those lines, so it would be kind of like a seamless transition there. And once I'm happy with that, I'm going to press that down and really give that a good press. Make sure it's really good adhered. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of color to the bottom of the balloon where it's kind of tied off there, because obviously you don't want to leave that blank. You want to tie it in. So I just used the E43 marker to add just a little bit of color to that. And then once I've got that, I'm going to add a little bit of extra detail to our background that we worked on earlier. So I'm going to take my, before I do that, I'm going to obviously place around my images and see how I'm liking things. I'm going to also stamp down my sentiment before I do a little bit of more detail to the background. So I'm taking the sentiment, one of the two sentiments that's in this little set, and I'm going to stamp out the Sun Bunny Loves You. This also can be stamped inside of the balloon. That's kind of what it was, I guess, intended in whenever they designed it. But I'm going to stamp it out on the side here. And I'm going to use the Someone Says Stamp Hot Lips ink. This is a really great color that kind of goes with the pattern paper. So I'm going to stamp this down twice, giving it a really good crisp impression here. I love these corals and light blues. And I love the idea of having a neutral color. So I really do love the overall design of this card and how it turned out. You've got a little bit of neutrals, but you've got some pops of color too. And of course, this card is really super simple in design, but that's pretty much how, you know, what I make in cards. I'm a simple girl. I don't go with all complicated because it's just not my style. But I love the, you know, the cards that I see on Instagram that are full of critters, and just they amaze me. I mean, just the time that it takes to make all those cards. I applaud all of my fellow crafters that have the time to create those really full in detail cards. But it's just not me. Sometimes I break out and do it every once in a while, but this is not me. This is my style. So like I said, I was going to add some extra little detail to the back of this background here. I contemplated on different things. I thought about maybe stamping out some more hearts in the background, but then I just decided to add a little bit of Wink of Stella to the edges of each of the cloud borders that I had made. And it's a very subtle sheen of shimmer, but it gives it just a little bit of extra something to the background. So now what I'm going to do is add a little bit of dimension to both my bunny and the balloon, because since it's such a simple in design, the dimension will help add just a little extra something to the overall design of the card. So once I have these little bits of foam adhesive adhered to both the bunny and the balloon, I'm going to remove the paper backings and then add this to my card. So I'm going to first add the bunny down first, because I want to get him placed exactly where I want him. Before I do, I have this a little bit of area where I'm going to add some liquid glue to on the back of his little hands there, and that will connect it to the string of the balloon. So I'm going to hold down my balloon there and kind of hold that in place, and then press down my bunny. And then I'm going to get the balloon and take off the paper backings of the foam adhesive. And then once I do that, then I'm going to add, press down the balloon onto the card as well. So once I get that into place, I am pretty much done with this card. I really do love how the pattern paper just adds something to the overall design of the card. But there you go. It's pretty simple. I really do love it. Hope you do too. If you enjoy watching these types of videos, please consider subscribing by hitting that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one.